Hey everyone, Chris here from AV Technology. It's my great pleasure to welcome Stuart and Dan. Stuart Craig is Executive Vice President of Crestron ANZ, and Dan Feldstein is the President and CEO of Crestron, chiming in from the US. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Always good.
So here, part of the reason, I guess, to connect is to celebrate or acknowledge the 10-year anniversary of Crestron ANZ. So congratulations, one and all.
Thank you. And it is actually nice to, in the pace of everything we do every day, it's actually nice to stop for a second and consider what's been achieved. It's been a great journey.
And more than just a PR stunt, Stuart.
Yeah, I think it's. It's nice because a lot of the people who started this journey with me either 10 years ago or as a distributor before that are still on that journey. So there's definitely a strong people connection in terms of the team, but also customers along the way, and my colleagues in Crestron around the world who made this happen. As much as Crestron Australia have done things, we've got Dan on the call here now, of course, and his entire team in the US that helped, make all this happen, from engineering, logistics, and finance, and all these bits and pieces. It's a phenomenal success story.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it obviously was a big lift for us, starting another office more than halfway around the world, if that's possible. Certainly created a lot of challenges, certainly challenging communicating across so many time zones. But the truth is, Stuart and the team that we were working with prior to starting our own office, they proved to us the incredible potential of this market for us. And that really led to our decision and our commitment that we could do so much more if we had more control, if it was a dedicated Crestron first, Crestron office. And that's proved out. This 10-year experiment is, without doubt, is a huge success.
Yeah.
So Dan, at that point, was the ANZ office a fairly sort of new pilot concept? You didn't have like a bunch of offices around the world using the same model?
No, for the most part, we were a US-based company, and we dealt in the rest of the world primarily through distributors and other partners, and that's how we really accessed the rest of the globe. So we had partners everywhere, but we didn't have our own distribution centers anywhere else. We didn't have our own sales teams and our own support teams. So this was really that first venture out of the US. And quite honestly, it became the model. Now we have our own offices all across Asia, all across Europe, and it's proven to be a great success. And again, we learned a lot from going into the ANZ market, and that local support, being able to connect more directly with the customers, really showed that value of that closeness and that true partnership.
Yeah, and then at the time it was the big first step, and we knew that after that we wanted to go ahead and do Singapore and China and Hong Kong and India, which I was lucky enough to be involved in and whatever. But this really was the kind of the recipe, if you like, and then we took it to all those other regions, and we did all that over a quick amount of time. And in 2 or 3 years, I think, Dan, we had pretty much that whole Asia Pacific thing running. And again, as Dan says, it's not about in any way a slide about the distribution model or whatever it was. Crestron had grown enormously in our product range and our market share everywhere and whatnot. And so to be able to focus on one thing, one brand, one company, has made an enormous difference. It's, being the guy who ran the distribution before and then ran this one, I could say the difference is chalk and cheese.
Yeah, completely. And that model was working very well for us, but we recognize that we could do more, being closer, more closely connected with our customers. The training was a big part of it. as our products have become somewhat complicated, and the goal is really to deliver an exceptional experience to the end customer, it takes a lot of knowledge of our products to make sure they're put together in the right way so that they can deliver that. And training is essential to that. And if we don't control that training, if we don't make sure that the people trained in the US are being trained the same way as Australia and the same way as Singapore, it's very hard to service our global customers. And that's another factor that went into it. More and more, especially in the enterprise, our customers had become global, and they were looking for a very consistent experience everywhere they were all over the world. And that was probably one of the bigger drivers as well, just so that we could make sure we had that continuity.
Yeah.
And Dan, Australian AV guys traditionally like to think that we're somehow a bit special and have a whole bunch of very sort of unique individual requirements or ways that we go about things. Would you say that regional differences are more imagined than they are real?
Yes and no. I mean, certainly. One of our challenges, especially as we develop product, because we can't develop completely different products for every region across the globe, is to really understand where the commonality is so that that's what the product does really well, but allow for that customization and personalization that every region does have. And in truth, every customer has. So that's a big part of how we approach our product development. But I will say one of the things I've always loved about that market, about the ANZ market, is, and I think it is a little different than many of the other markets, is the acceptance of technology and the willingness to be early adopters of technology. Yeah. It also means that typically the customer is a little more technically knowledgeable, which allows us to work much more closely with our customers, get really great feedback and understanding of what are their needs, what are they looking to achieve, and that helps to drive our R&D to make sure we can develop the right products, which end up translating to other markets all over the world.
Yeah, we're certainly still early adopters, Chris, and I remember, I'm sure Dan does as well, when we first released NVX all those years ago, whatever. The biggest installation in the world for a little while was in Perth, Woodside, Perth, and it's a long way from New Jersey. So and Australians have always got that appetite. It does make it interesting.
Sure. Just to touch on training again, it feels like in the last 10 years, as the technology and the solutions become ever more sophisticated, that the likes of the vendor or the distributor's role has changed over the years to really fill that vacuum of tech support, providing that sort of engineering support for the SIs. It's interesting to hear that, for example, in the Australian market, we have a developed market, knowledgeable market, a market that's sort of an early adopters, but still that sort of heft that you need, Stuart, to support your integrators is only increasing. Is that a reasonable observation?
Well, I think it's increasing because the pace of technology is rolling out so quickly. But also as an industry, I've been doing this long enough, and Dan even longer. We've gone from nice to have to mission critical. Hybrid work doesn't work if we don't work. And we're a much bigger piece of the fit out, the construction piece, and whatever. So there was a lot of pressure on the industry to get it right, especially when you're working for big construction companies and whatever. So for us to be, we have pre-deployment, we have sales, we have technical design assistance, we have pre-deployment experience, we have training, we have tech support on the ground. That's all there to help those integrators and those end users to get the right result. And again, when you're a much bigger piece of the pie and you are mission critical, I think that's super important. And it's a big reason why I think Crestron continues to grow, is because people see that. It's a very tangible value piece. Am I buying a great box? Yes, I am. But look at all the people I've got around me making sure this thing gets over the line. And so I can say to the builder and all the hefty penalties that might come if things are late, don't worry, I got this. And who are all these people running around with their Crestron people helping me out? I mean, that's not a PR story, but that's the reality here every day. And I think that's why integrators and end users still lean heavily into Crestron, and why I'm still here after all these years, to be candid, because I'm super proud of the fact that we do that.
Yeah, and that's a huge part of our commitment to our customers, our direct customers, which is usually the integrator, as well as our end customers, is that we're going to stand behind those products, and we're going to be there to make sure that that end customer gets the experience that they want and gets a system that works the way they want. Ultimately, to scale and to continue to grow, that's where the training comes in. We're there to help you and support you hands-on as much as we need, but we want to get training to our integration partners and some of our other partners so that they're designing systems the right way and they're able to support themselves, because that's how we can really achieve growth at scale.
So while I've got you both, it's crazy not to pick your brain and I guess read some tea leaves or look into the crystal ball somewhat. Maybe, Dan, can you reflect a little bit on the impact of COVID on your business and, you know, how you've, I guess, sort of emerged from that and how it may have steer the ship in slightly different direction or reorientated, recalibrated your business somewhat? Is any reflections there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's certainly obviously a massive global impact. At the beginning, people say, "How you doing?" I said, "Well, we sell a lot of workplace technology and nobody's allowed in their workplace." So
going great.
The immediate impact was a little bit rough. But then we quickly saw that remote and then hybrid solutions were going to be necessary. And thankfully, we were already long into that process, working with Microsoft and Zoom. Long before most people knew what video conferencing was, we were already making those hybrid solutions. So we knew that was going to become a massive part of our business, as it has. We recognized the need to create more inclusive experiences in a hybrid environment. And that's when we got more heavily into things like intelligent video and our multi-camera intelligent video systems. And really that's becomes very often the driver, especially in the enterprise and also in some cases in the education market, of what's causing the need for technology. And that desire, that need to have a better hybrid experience often becomes that driver. And then because we have the rest of the ecosystem of whether it's room or desk scheduling, our ability to move content around, and our ability to control the whole environment, whether it's lighting, shades, that then all comes into play and becomes more that holistic experience that we can deliver. But that focus now on video conferencing, and very often leading with that, is certainly a massive change from that was triggered by the pandemic.
And I guess sort of owning more of the endpoints, is that a sense that you're sort of you're feeling more of the ecosystem with Crestron?
Yeah, for sure. And we've always looked to do that. In the early days, we were really more about control. And we had a user interface, we had a control processor, and we interfaced to other people's equipment. And slowly, again, even then, it was about delivering that user experience. And slowly, we started to develop our own pieces, either endpoints or other infrastructure pieces, to try to deliver a better experience. And whether that was audio distribution in the home or now video conference solutions and intelligent video solutions in the enterprise, it really all comes back to that goal of delivering that exceptional experience.
And I guess as we conclude, Stuart, I would want to give you a couple of minutes to reflect on, as far as the ANZ aspect goes, sort of where you came from, I suppose, that origin story, and how I guess you followed your nose to then become part of the Crestron family, and I guess sort of what that means, and personally, I suppose.
Thanks, Chris. I think when we first signed up as a distributor for Crestron, it had been something we'd been talking to Crestron about for quite some time, and then the phone call came, and you're up, and we had to build a business very quickly around that, and that was terrific. But as soon as I became part of Crestron and whatever, and once you go to New Jersey and you start to look at the manufacturing, and you think that, and in fact that it's a privately owned company, and you see how ingrained the Feldstein family is in everything, and how many generations of staff there are at Crestron. When you go there, you see these surnames everywhere, and you think, oh, I know that surname, and then there's more people, and you think, oh, it's families. And Dan's dad once said to me, you know what the most successful thing is, and the best thing about being me is about the success of Crestron. And I could think of a million things. And he said to me, it's actually the fact that, he says, a lot of the people who have worked here now have their kids working here. And he says, and no one would do that to their child if they didn't think it was a great place to be. And I thought that was just a fantastic line that stuck with me for many, many years. And in many ways, we've tried to emulate that here in Australia and New Zealand. The people here who have been on this journey with us for 10 years and whatnot, they love this brand, and they love representing this brand. And they love the fact that it's a private company and that they get a say in how things go. And I think the customers see that. And also customers see that, and again, coming back to what I said before, why am I still here after all these years, is you feel super supported, but at the same time, when you're selling to your customers at Crestron, you're never going to let anybody down. I mean, we are out on the field, out on site all the time, helping people through things and whatever. It's quite honestly aren't normally Crestron issues. There are other issues that are going on in the building or whatever it might be, but the company sticks it out and makes sure the customer's happy. So there's a massive sense of pride. And when we all get together at Integrate for our 10-year party and whatever, there's a lot of emotion with the team, because they love getting together. And again, I think our customers see that it's a happy team and a great place to be.
Yeah, and I think it's so important that when we started this, it was a Australian office of a U.S. company, and as we've moved forward, one of the things we've learned, and as we've added other offices around the globe, we have become a truly global company. And everybody that's in the Australia or New Zealand offices or any of our other offices are part of Crestron as much as anybody is part of Crestron, and truly part of what I call the Crestron family. And that's important to us, that they do have a say. Their families are committed to them and to us, and we have a commitment back to make sure that we do the right thing, we're responsible, and we try to make sure that we keep a good home for everybody here.
Yeah, and it matters.
That's awesome. And Dan, we might see you at Integrate in August?
Yes, I'm very excited to come out in August and celebrate the 10 years in person. Say thank you to all the wonderful people that have helped us to get to this point and achieve such great success in the region, and be part of the Integrate show.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And he's promised to only eat Vegemite for breakfast and kangaroo for dinner, which I think is amazing. It's an amazing commitment.
I might pass on I'll try the Vegemite. I don't know about the kangaroo thing.
Yeah. Or maybe his promise was actually just to drink Australian red wine only while he was here. That was probably a better
That's a sacrifice. Well,
he can do that.
And I guess,
I'll do that.
While you're here, Dan, you need to say ANZ rather than ANZ in the same way that Stuart has to say ANZ when he's in New Jersey.
I'll practice so I say it properly when I'm there.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you giving us your time, and it's again, congratulations on the 10th anniversary, and I'm looking forward to seeing you both at Integrate at the end of August.
Thanks, Chris.
Sounds great.
Nice to take a moment to reflect. Appreciate it.